Hey guys, just wanted to make a quick one here. It seems that there is a massive outage happening right now. It's mostly just being reported as AT&T. We can see here there's a lot of spillover to Cricket Wireless, Reddit, Verizon, Consumer Cellular, T-Mobile, US Cellular, Google, Webs, Wells Fargo, all of these others. So thought it was pretty interesting. Right now the news is mostly um, focused only on AT&T, which I guess would be the biggest one, but a lot of people aren't really covering the broader outages here. And of course, in true fashion, we got Alex Jones selling his supplements, telling you it's the Chinese.
That's why next level
taking
financial
over
energy is so
here.
important.
We'll go back to him in a minute, but just wanted to take a little bit of a nuanced approach in this. So many of you have seen the movie come out, Leave the World Behind, and it does seem like they are priming us for a massive outage of sorts. I have a bit of a unique take on the whole outage system. So for me, I believe most of their control comes from technology and now social media and mainstream media. So a lot of people and truthers think that they're going to just like take out the entire grid and everything's going to be, hell and panic. They'll take us back to the Stone Age. I really don't think that's ever going to be the case because their entire control structure depends on them basically keeping all of this stuff in place. I know they want to scare us and scare the bejesus out of us and panic and all of that, think all of our systems and grids are super vulnerable and at any point they can be taken down. But I really don't see it happening, at least for an extended period of time. I think they will use it as a weapon or a psychological control to have us afraid that at any moment our grid can go down, right? Problem, reaction, solution. So, what will they, try to think a few steps ahead, right? Instead of just panicking about this type of stuff. Grid goes down. So what does that mean? They're going to use that, for war. They're going to use that. Oh, now you need to use our digital ID because of terrorists, trying to think of how they're actually going to play this. And I think Alex Jones is actually a good person to see what he's saying, because he really tries to feed you that narrative, even though a lot of people think, he's a truth teller. Let's see what he's saying.
We'll
here.
see if I'm right again. Okay. Now let's get to some good news.
Oh, we missed the
Trudeau
doom.
warns conspiracy theorists successfully undermining mainstream media. So if you question known corporate media liars that tell you there's no XY
maybe we'll
chromosomes,
check in on this later. But yeah, it is pretty fascinating. We see this all in alignment here. Like, for example, Reddit. Let's check out here, right? You can see the map just off the charts here. Most reported problems. Right. Let's see here. Right. LA, San Fran, Seattle, and we see a little bit in Toronto and Boston. Same with these seem to corroborate quite a bit as well. All right. We're seeing T-Mobile. All right. Let's do the outage maps. Same things here. So I bet a lot of these systems are pretty interdependent, and that's something Alex Jones was talking about earlier that I did find somewhat interesting, in that it is true, right? If you watch the documentary All Watched Over by Machines of Loving Grace, it's a really fascinating tale of the fact that we've hyper centralized and hyper automated a lot of our systems. They talk about historic events where it was like one fuse ended up taking out, like banking and electrical systems in like four or five states or something, I think. So it's very fascinating. It talks about our move towards hyper technological advances, and how it's just very fascinating. But yeah, I want to bring this up because there's a lot of people, really worried about cyber attacks that are going to take down the grid, and a lot of people are really panicking about that. I just want to let people know an alternative side to this, in that I really don't think they're going to bring any of these systems down for any length of time, because frankly, if they pulled the plug on all social media for like 3 days, that would probably change the world and they would no longer have any power. So what I think they're going to do is use people like Alex Jones and events like this to really scare people. So I hope people aren't really afraid. This is, who knows what's going on here. Be open to the next step, right? So this has happened. Now their call for action, something must be done. What's that going to be? Very interesting.
Freaking demon.
And
now he comes out so unaware, so unself-aware, no awareness of himself, and whines about, the conspiracy theorists. You mean critical thinkers that don't eat your BS, that don't...
That's good he's focusing on Canada a little bit. We need a little love now and again. But also, they are priming us for, what do you call it? This type of event, right? The cyber attacks. They had all of these cyber leave the world behind. They had all these cyber attacks. The Leave the World Behind movie, which I actually really liked. But they are priming us, right? They had these cyber tests and all of this. Everyone's freaking out that the grid is so so vulnerable to attack.
I went online this morning and I rented us a beautiful house out by the beach. I figured
trailer here.
I'm so sorry to bother you, that this is our house.
This is your house.
I need to think everything's gonna be okay.
Everything is gonna be okay, isn't it?
Exactly. So this right here, right? This is what they want us to think is going to happen, right? This massive cyber attack across all the country. Now, I'm not going to say it will never happen, but this is what they want you to think. So in this movie, right, which I actually enjoyed, which most people hated, but in the movie, they categorize cyber attacks as if all of these systems are totally connected to one another, right? Each system in each area is unique and has a lot of safeguards in place, right? So in order for something of this magnitude to actually happen, it would have to be very much by design. And frankly, I don't think that's possible, right? But they want to plant this in your mind that the entire country at once is going to be brought down, and you're going to have nothing, and you're going to have to get into a race war in your Airbnb, right?
Something is happening, and I don't...
The frequency attacks in the movie, well, they do have that technology, but could they deploy that in mass into people in the country? I don't think so, right? Mind you, this movie was produced by Obama, right? And it's very interesting, why, of any project he could work on, did he choose this, right? To me, it does seem like they're trying to prime us for an event. But again, I don't think this event is going to happen in the way they want us to fear it. The more interesting question, and I would love everybody's feedback on this, is how are they going to use events like this to push what agenda? Is it going to be for the digital IDs? Is it going to be you need your identification to go on the internet? I don't know, or just panic.
Trust them.
Everything I know, I have told you.
I don't believe you.
I would do anything to protect.
Right? Yeah, they're always pushing this idea, man versus man, right? As soon as things go bad, we're going to have to fight with each other. It's, gun versus gun, might is right. This definitely is the programming that we need to be very careful of, because I wonder, if things like this were to actually happen, for example, where I live, all my neighbors are rock solid, and half of them have their own backup generators and barely use the internet anyways. I think people would be totally fine. And I think in general, humans are very cooperative, right? And I think one of the kind of deeper level imprinting they do on these films is that as soon as things go bad, they're trying to program us to just like turn on each other and freak out, whereas like, guys, if the internet goes down, like just go hang out with your family, go on a walk in nature. You're going to be just fine.
Thing to protect my family. What you do is your business.
This was a cool shot when they talk about the Teslas all being hacked, and in a roadway. I thought that was a really cool concept. Could it happen? I mean, that's very advanced level hacking. I don't know. That would take like a entire country to probably do. But it raises a good point that, as cool as Teslas are made out to be, man, the real scheme is that they just want to be able to turn your car off at any time, right? Or tell you where you can go and where you can't go. So I hope in this movie people actually think twice about getting these types of vehicles. I mean, man, electric cars could be really sweet, and also self-driving. Like I wonder about trips. Imagine, sometimes we do canoe trips and they're 10 hours away. It'd be amazing to just like fall asleep overnight and wake up in the morning and you'll be there. But, like many things, the technology are just tools, and they can be used to free and benefit humanity. It seems like they are, in a large part, being used to track us and, control us, which is really unfortunate. And even the digital ID. I mean, think about it. Wouldn't it be pretty cool if you could just buy things with your thumbprint? You didn't have to carry around a wallet, and we all trusted the system, and it was a good system that, we had faith and it had integrity and it was not used against you. I think it would be amazing, but we can't trust these guys because they're sneaky. And same with even the concept of the UN and the world government. Like, it makes sense in the, evolution of humans culturally that we would have a group of people, to represent us as a planet, as a entire species, that, where we work together in mutual cooperation. I mean, it's a really good idea, right? But the issue is the people in the UN are total criminals. Like, if you just search, sex trafficking in UN, you'll be there all day. So unfortunately, a lot of the truthers, really promote a doom and gloom attitude to all of these technologies. And I don't think they're totally wrong in that they are largely being deployed to control us. But I hope that we can change that because a lot of this stuff is pretty awesome.
Get in the car right now!
Oh man, that was so cool.
Been picking up on what's going on out there.
Yeah, and this concept of nature, right? They have hundreds of deer. So, yeah. Just hanging out, right? I don't think they have that kind of technology. I mean, maybe they do. They talk about in a lot of these black projects that they have weapons and technologies, hundreds of years or decades away at least from what we actually have access to. What would actually cause animals to do that and to gather in one area? That to me feels like pole shift or magnetic shift. Could they deploy that on a countrywide population to change migration patterns? Yeah, maybe if the grid actually went off, the animals would stop going insane because of our all the wireless and relax for
Going on out there.
Whatever it is, it's happening to all of us.
I just want to know.
again, just like the imprinting there, right?
I just want to know.
It's happening to all of us.
Just people totally insane having to flee. yeah, so basically just a quick one. Let me quickly check on AJ. What is he telling us to believe here? Are we happy? Are we afraid? Tell us, Alex. Oh man, guys, my Wi-Fi is so slow. That's the struggle of being in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, there we go. I think he's still talking about Trudeau. Whatever.
Where they pay for the hotels and airline tickets to the Caribbean and to the Mediterranean and to Europe and to Canada. We're talking 5-star hotels. And they go to these week-long conferences that are put on by George Soros organization.
All right. And whatever. Yeah, you can see there, right, in the title, and I was listening before, communist Chinese hackers, right? You know, Alex Jones says China owns Hollywood. You know, China's our biggest enemy, and you know that might be the case. I happen to think that we're just not told the truth about who our enemies really are and who funds them and to what degree that they're, you know, working in unison. But this seems to be the narrative we're supposed to think, right? Chinese communist hackers, you know, definitely is in alignment with what they want us to think. You know, World War III is here, it's coming, blah, 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 and it's the Chinese fault. It's always the Chinese. You know, I always wonder, imagine if, like, North Korea is actually just, like, the most based and free country, and we've just been lied to, you know, they're the only ones who didn't want to, like, you know, put stuff in their water or, you know, do all the stuff they're doing to us. You know, it's probably not the case because we hear the stories from survivors, but I really, you know, I think it is really good to just question narratives in general, especially alternative narratives. And yeah, just want to leave everybody with, you know, basically my philosophy in a lot of these things, right? I see a lot of worry and panic, you know, on Twitter and all of this, people really afraid of these outages. And it is true, the mainstream media isn't really covering this, you know, that it's a lot more prevalent in terms of outage. This is downdetector.com, so you can see for yourself here. You know, even Apple is down. Starlink, no way. Starlink down. Wow, that's very interesting. Internet total blackout. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, oof. But yeah, I want to leave people with solutions. So, look, I made the choice to live off grid in the middle of nature, on a ranch close to nature. And for me, if the power went down for a week or more, I would be totally fine. And if the internet went down, honestly, I think it would be a blessing because I would just read more books and go into nature and be totally okay. So my general suggestion for people, if you're worried about this type of thing, is make yourself more resilient if events like this happened. You don't have to be a total prepper, doomer, you know, stockpile 100 years of food, you know, build an underground bunker, but just really ask yourself, what kind of life do you want to live, right? The life I chose to live is a life that I want to live anyways, and that I am at least fairly protected if things go awry. You know, I don't feel comfortable living in the cities anymore. I just think there is this collective insanity that's going on, right? And I don't want to be totally dependent on a grid system, you know? And so to what capacity you can really, you know, live a life you want to live anyways and be more resilient, you know? Like, would you be okay if, you know, these systems actually do go down for a few days? Most people can't even, like, navigate their own city, you know? So, like, maybe just get some maps, you know? Learn how to read maps. That's a huge skill set, you know? Just, you know, have a jerry can worth of fuel in your trunk. You know, have a little bit of food, a little bit of water. Sure, like, you don't have to go crazy, but, you know, have a little something. Or, you know, if you can work online, try to move to a rural area. If you guys are, you know, it seems like almost like it's it's like a cult living in the city, right? I have a lot of friends. At first they thought I was crazy, living where I live, but then they come and visit. They're like, wow, it's really peaceful. It's really quiet. And they're like, but I could never do this. It's like, why? Like I live cheaper. My rent in Toronto was like like I was paying like $2,500 to live in a little basement box, and some friends I know are spending like $4,000 a month on rent. You could like rent or buy a house in the country and be way happier. So something to consider. And so just be, don't never panic in these things, because literally the panic is what they want you to do. Make some plans, be resilient, basic stuff, and also consider living in areas where it doesn't matter if the power goes out or not. All right. Well, just wanted to give that quick update there, guys. Hope everyone's okay. It seems like it is a pretty big outage. I was also just checking the news here. Outage on the news. Okay, they say 70% of the network is restored. That's 14 minutes ago. Widespread outage with carrier saying it's working urgently to restore service during cell phone outage. How can you call 911? Yeah. Sweeping. They're saying people can't call. Huge outage. What is SOS mode? Yeah, definitely. London Stock Exchange Group suffers brief outage. Victorian Minister. 15-hour power. Wow. Oh, that's so. Yeah. Yeah, who knows? To me, it does feel like every year they have like a big narrative, right? A big scam. And this year it does, to me, feels like the cyber attack is going to be their big one. How are they going to push that? I think it's, digital ID. Yeah, that's my prediction. I would love to hear your guys' predictions. But most importantly, friends and fam, just relax. Everything's going to be fine. Actually being without these technologies is it's actually a blessing in a lot of ways. And if you're in the middle of the city, maybe think about leaving. Okay. Bye.